Welcome everyone. My name is Jane and I'm a piano teacher, examiner, composer and online teaching specialist. I mentor teachers and teach piano and theory students online from around the world, and today we will be looking specifically at examination pieces. By the time this presentation is over, less experienced teachers should be more confident in how to choose pieces for their students, and more experienced teachers will have some ideas of where to look to find them, including on my own website, Piano Zone, but I'll talk about that later. I will also be covering what examiners look for and what the most common areas are that teachers can improve on. A PDF document of all the information in this seminar can be found on the Piano Zone website. For a Guild exam you have two options. Option 1 includes all the extra bits like sight reading, knowledge, technical work and oral, as well as 3 or 4 pieces. Please note that the word contrasting is used. This means that it's not a good idea to present 3 works from the same composer, from the same historical era, or from the same style. Option 2 doesn't include the extra sections, but an additional piece. Students perform 4 or 5 contrasting pieces and include verbal introductions, as well as a folio. This is a lot like a concert, and the folio would be the concert program and notes. This option also lends itself well to video exams. How do you know what pieces to choose? Pieces fall into 4 very broad categories. Technical pieces are those that use a technique that is new or needs work. Expressive or stylistic pieces are chosen to encourage or expand expressive dynamics and phrasing, or to explore stylistic conventions. Theoretical pieces are chosen that includes a scale, a key, or a chord progression that also appears in technical work. And creative pieces are chosen for fun, to explore cultural folk songs, to encourage improvisation and composition. To know which arrangement to use, you need to consider what is included that is achievable for that level, and will it allow for a fluent performance. So does the arrangement have notational, harmonic and rhythmic accuracy? Is it piano friendly? Or has it been arranged by a pianist rather than transcribed from a MIDI or a guitar score? Is it stylistically accurate so that it sounds musical and has a convincing groove? Has phrasing, articulation, dynamics, pedaling, etc. been included, and is that use appropriate? If it has not been included, what should be added? Understand what piano skills are needed for each level, and then briefly, piano skills are needed in the piece. This will help you choose a piece and level that is appropriate, and this is also how exam bodies choose pieces for each level too. Please keep in mind that the skills in these lists are a general guide and not set in stone, and I will go into more detail for each level in a moment. But essentially, beginners through to late elementary are learning keyboard geography, finger isolation, hand coordination and reading. Familiarity with articulation, phrasing and basic theory is the focus. This means that while they may not have these completely under control, they can demonstrate that they are aware of these performance directions. Intermediate players should by now be reading both clefs, know most key signs, can confidently include articulation and phrasing, and are experiencing complex rhythms and time signs. Advanced players read fluently, always include stylistic directions and details, articulation and phrasing, and are experienced in irregular rhythms and time signs. So let's look at the skills for each level in more detail. For preliminary in grade 1, keep in mind what skills the student has based on the method book or teaching philosophy you have. Most students will have these skills. Elementary players will be able to sit for a preliminary grade 1 or grade 2 piece when they are confident in some hand positions, some finger extensions, and some 3-note chords. So keeping these in mind, have a look at these two examples of the same piece. This one has far less hand movement and fewer finger extensions, which is why it is more suited for preliminary, whereas this sample is more suited for grade 1 or possibly even grade 2, depending on what the second page is doing. One other thing to note is the first example has no performance directions on the score, but the second one does have a few. This brings up another important point. Most of the time, performance directions are added by the editor or the publisher, but not always by the composer. This means that some directions are not always correct, musical or stylistically accurate. Most of the pieces I use with my students are what we call urtext editions, or clean music with no performance directions. This doesn't mean students don't play them, but you should teach students to decide what articulation, phrasing and dynamics will be appropriate. So here is the piece again as a worksheet with questions for students to research and answer. For younger students, we will do this together. For older students, I will set this for homework, and these students will do what they can, and I will help them with the parts they have difficulty with or forget about. I will often use colours to highlight the different categories and give students a list of terms. And here are the answers. Remember that this information has been included in the PDF download for you to access. Most teachers don't spend a lot of time on intermediate grades, usually because of the pressure students or their parents put on progressing through exam grades. However, at these levels, doing even a few additional activities such as playing by ear or arranging a pop song makes for a stronger musician who can mature into advanced levels. At this level, students need to be able to confidently include articulation, phrasing, and be aware of some stylistic conventions. They also need to be aware of a variety of practice strategies and, with guidance, should be able to set their own progress and daily goals. It's at this level technique becomes crucial, as well as an understanding of theory. This is a time to use theory and industry terms when giving instructions. Another benefit is that by the time students reach advanced levels, they will very likely be using music programs either at home or at school, and the function and menus in these programs use theory terms. So it's for all of these reasons that this is the level I will often help a student do their own arrangement of a piece and present that arrangement as one of their exam pieces. Sometimes it's from a pop song, or a theme from a movie or game, or even a theme from a symphony or sonata. It depends on what the student enjoys listening to. Most students don't teach advanced levels, and like teaching very young children, it is a specialist area. But this is one area where teachers can grow with their students. At this level, students need to be able to fully control articulation, phrasing, and include all stylistic conventions. They should also be independent learners where they can set their own practice schedule, and the teacher's role changes to be more of a coach and someone to help solve problems. All of this now brings us to where to find pieces. The obvious one starts with buying a book from the various exam bodies, but often students or you will only like one or two pieces, and even if you buy the book and then lend it to a student, it is still an expensive way to go. There are lots of online options as well, where you can buy a legal single sheet to download and use, but the problem with these is that the arrangement may indicate a broad category, but will not always match up to a specific grade. The other problem is that there are often many mistakes in either how the music has been laid out, or the arrangement has harmonic errors. Even worse, some sheets are adaptations for piano from guitarists and are physically impossible to play. So what's the solution? Welcome to Piano Zone. This site is a resource for piano and theory students, teachers and music school owners. There are 3 membership options. Free membership allows the member to pay per download, and most on the site are Australian $5.50. Quarterly membership allows for 10 free downloads per month for 3 months. That works out to be about $3 per download. Annual membership of $300 per year allows unlimited free downloads. Right now there are only over 135 products on the site, with more being uploaded every day. Subscribe to Piano Zone on YouTube and follow on Facebook for notifications of new uploads. But what's available? There are beginner courses, which take students through to preliminary level. There are theory courses for grades 1 to 5. There are professional development courses for piano teachers on teaching, business, marketing, and so forth. The most important and useful section is the piano music page. Piano sheet music is arranged in zones that match levels and grades. When you click on the zone you want, for example Zone 4, it will show you all the pieces available. When you choose one piece, for example Pokemon, it takes you to the purchase page. This page allows you to add the product to your cart, or to click on the bottom at the Listen Here section, which will take you to Piano Zone's YouTube channel to listen to the backing and piano. If you choose to purchase, then for $5.50 or for free for quarterly and annual members, they will receive an email with a zip file. The zip file will contain a PDF analysis of the piece. Please note that the analysis is a general one. Musical terms have not been included, as most of our pieces are urtext or plain additions. This means that you should add the meaning of the term to the analysis page every time you add a performance direction on the piano sheet. Each purchase includes 2 MP3s, one piano with backing for practice purposes, and one piano with no backing for performances. There are 2 PDF versions of the sheet music. One has a colour code to support reluctant readers, and this is also the version to draw on, annotate and add all the explanations and terms. The other PDF is a black and white version to be kept clean. This is usually printed and taken into an exam with performance directions, but no definitions, neatly written or then printed. This gives an examiner a version to ask questions from if needed. Another way to easily choose pieces, and I do this a lot, is to go to or send the student to our YouTube channel. Open up the zone you want in the playlist section, and in this example I will open Zone 4, which is grade 4 or level 4. All the pieces in that zone, level or grade, are in this playlist. You or your student can listen to the piece, and if for example they choose Pokemon, they can listen to the piano with backing, and on the bottom of the description is a link to take you or them to Piano Zone, where they can then purchase the music and the backings. There is a PDF for you to download of pieces on Piano Zone that the Guild has approved. There are pieces from preliminary to grade 8, and all are in the zip file format I have shown you. As you can see, there is a variety of styles and composers available, and it is a good idea to try and choose pieces that contrast in style and history. So, you've chosen your pieces, you've taught them, your students have practiced, and you think the piece or pieces are ready for an exam or performance. How do you know? You know a piece is ready when a piece can be played fluently and without hesitations. The piece should be played at a tempo close to that indicated on the score, and the tempo should be even and controlled. For the sake of accuracy, sometimes it's a good idea to play at a tempo of 5 or 10 beats per minute slower. Be very careful about going too quickly, as the piece can sound rushed and breathless rather than controlled. Clearly, the piece should be played accurately in notation and rhythm with expression, and include the score's articulation. Finally, the sustain pedal needs to be used appropriately, and in the younger grades, does the pedal need to be used at all? Should it be used up, down, full, half? When should it change? For the lower grade, students don't have to use the sustained pedal, but if it's used, it must be done properly. For the higher grades, a more sensitive use is expected. Overall, a good guide is, would you video this performance and upload it to your social media pages? If the answer to that is no, then you need to think about what the student needs to be practicing and how. In the PDF handout that you can download, I've included this checklist. I use it with my students and a copy is in there for you. On the Piano Zone website is also a form-filled version that you can download that can be found in the For Students section. Not all the criteria will be needed for all pieces, but it is a good way for students to think about what should and should not be part of their performance. When a student thinks the piece is finished, I then have them video themselves, then watch the video and fill in this sheet again. We then discuss what could or should be improved. For lower grades, keep it simple. Accuracy, no hesitations, some dynamics and phrases, etc. For higher grades, aim for everything, but you will often have to choose one or two criteria to really work on. What does an examiner listen for? The early grades will always have a bit of leeway. No examiner wants to fail a candidate and will try really hard to give them the highest possible mark. However, the candidate needs to demonstrate at least most of the time that they can master these skills. In the higher grades, the skills are the same as for the early grades. But there are two more that are very important, and these relate to control. With more experience than lower grades, the examiner expects that the basics are mastered, but will be listening for these two extra skills that have been highlighted in red. At the end of the day, the performance needs to be musical and convincing. I've gone through a lot of information today, and this presentation is recorded so that you can watch it again. All the information on this recording has also been put together as a PDF for you to download, and you will find it at the Piano Zone website under Studio Resources. There's also a lot of other useful files there too. But the overall strategy for how to rock your piano exams is to be confident that you are ready. How? Check the syllabus frequently. Be clear on the order of the exam. Have books, sheets, even the clothes the students are going to be wearing ready and clean. Have a dress rehearsal. Record a video. Do nothing new with a student for the last 2 lessons. The second last lesson should be record a performance video, and the last lesson have a dress rehearsal mock exam. By making this last one much more difficult, the actual exam will be very, very easy. Good luck, and as always, have fun.